Good afternoon. My name is Weixin Xu, and I shall be taking you through my presentation on the analysis of various leadership styles. Leadership styles and their effectiveness have been a subject of intense debate in business literature. Today, I will like to present an argument against one of the most prevalent ideas surrounding leadership, that of transformation leadership being superior for sustainable success. In particular, we will discuss the proposition that though many leadership approaches are associated with short-term positive outcomes, transformational leadership is the better long-term approach to increase employee motivation and engagement as well as organizational performance. To explore this, I analyzed three distinct leadership styles through the lens of incoming business leaders. Steve Jobs as a transformation leader in Apple Company, Andrew Lee as a democratic leader in PepsiCo, and Warren Buffett as a delegative leader in Berkshire Hathaway. All these leaders have been very successful, but the way they get there is very contrasting. Our analysis will focus on two critical metrics: employee morale and productivity, and sustainable organizational performance. We will begin by analyzing transformation leadership as practiced by Steve Jobs. The best example of transformation leadership is Steve Jobs, who focused on the vision and his capacity to change Apple. His leadership styles was characterized by four key elements: idealized influence, as seen in his charismatic presentation and personal brand; inspirational motivation, demonstrate through his think different philosophy; intellectual motivation, pushing teams to achieve the seemingly impossible; and individualized consideration, the often manifested through demanding perfectionism. This is in line with the ESG theory, where employees are driven by an appealing environmental, social, and government purpose. During Jobs' reign, Apple's as employees were motivated by the mantra to change the world, and this saw great innovations such as the Macintosh and the iPhone being developed. Jobs' Jobs' transformation leadership has had an impact on Apple's financial performance, well with Apple's for his second tenure between 1997 and 2011. Apple's market capitalization was increased from 3 billion to 347 billion, a growth of 11,566% reached 2016. Apple's revenues increased from 7.1 billion in 1997 to 108.2 billion in 2011, surpassing Microsoft and Dell and others during the period. But the success which was achieved during the period was accompanied by heavy losses in terms of human resource. Isaacson, 2012, in his biography of Jobs, noted that Jobs' management styles was very toxic, attributed to extremely high turnover rates among employees who complained of burnout and emotional exhaustion. Several former workers report the organizational culture was characterized by fearful accident, work became obsessive, and productivity was prioritized over one's health. This shows a critical weakness of transformational leadership. While it computes outstanding business performance, it can also generate excessive level of psychological demand on the employees, which may undermine the organizational health in the long run. Engineers as leadership at PepsiCo was democratic, particularly through her performance with purpose, that revolved the definition of corporate performance. Her strategy was based on expectation theory, according to which people work hard when they expect tangible results. During her tenure, Lee introduced extensive employee-backed leadership training initiatives and mapping out career progression in the company focus on diversity. The results were remarkable. Women have increased to 48% of the overall senior leaders. In PepsiCo's European operations, internal promotions had risen to 67%, and employee engagement scores stood at 86%, which was much higher than the industry standard. Business Day 2024 business-wide PepsiCo's net revenues increased from 13.5 billion in 2005 to 63.5 billion in 2018 under her leadership as the CEO for 12 years, from 2006 to 2018. Indian Times 2018. Most importantly, these outcomes will attain during a time when the market is highly unpredictable and consumer trends are constantly changing. The mutual cost of the needs as democratic approach was that decision-making process was relatively slow because it involved consultation and consensus building. However, this deliberative process also resulted in more sustainable solutions and higher organizational commitment. Employee turnover was below average 23%, and customer satisfaction rose by 35% during her time in the role. Warren Buffett's leadership at Berkshire Hathaway represents a distinctively laissez-faire approach grounded in self-determination theory, which emphasized autonomy, competence, and relatedness as key drivers of intrinsic motivation. His famous hands-off philosophy was based on: we delegate almost to the point of application. CEOs of the subsidiary companies at Berkshire Hathaway are free to manage their companies with a lot of autonomy. In fact, they are not macro-managed by the headquarters, local, entire 2015. This approach has fostered tremendous levels of confidence and delegation among leaders, which has allowed subsidiary CEOs to remain in place for over 20 years on average as compared to the S&P 500 average of only 5 years. The motivation is not from the direct supervision, but from the choice of good leaders, who can be given freedom to manage the companies as they wish, which fits well with the self-determination theory that focuses on autonomous work motivation. The business outcomes of Buffett's as non-interventionist management style are phenomenal. During his tenure, the stock price of Berkshire Hathaway has increased from 19 in 1964 to 472 in 2023, making a compound average growth rate of 20.1% over 5.5 decades, late 2024. This is way better than the S&P 500 index that has been growing at a rate of 10.2% per annum in the same period. Market capitalization of the company has now exceeded $785 billion, making it among the largest companies in the world. But perhaps the most striking aspect of this is how consistent this has been. Berkshire has beaten the S&P 500 in 39 of the 58 years. The main weakness of the leadership style is that it involves very high decision-making in choosing leaders and is not suitable for organizations that need high synchronization or quick reaction to market signals. Not only 2020. However, what Buffett's successor shows is that when combined with the right organization design and industry environment, laissez-faire leadership can use sustainable long-term results with high employee morale and organizational stability. This is my leadership matrix, where I have tabulated the aspect of all three leadership styles. From the matrix above, we can see that each style have proven to yield impressive business results, but in two very different ways. These leadership styles of Jobs was able to revolution the company and create an increase in market, while that was unprecedented 566% increase in the market capitalization. Known as democratic leadership approach, established consistent growth and development a more inclusive and sustainable company. since 86% of the employees participated in the engagement. In contrast, Buffett has been a perfect in his management styles for over 6 decades and has achieved a 20.1% annual return on market benchmarks. This comparison also throws light on the argument. The transformation leadership is always advantageous for the long-term success of an organization, as each of them has its benefits depending on the organizational context and goals. The greatest insight of this comparison can be found in the employee consequences and the sustainability of each strategy. As much as Jobs was an innovative leader, his leadership styles led to high turnover and burnout among the employees, while the autocratic leadership that newly employed was effective but quicker in decision-making. Pritchett's democratic leadership though slow made the organization more stable with higher employee turnover and satisfaction rates. Buffett's "let's have an approach" is another successful model, with a remarkable stability of subsidiary CEOs, with an average of 20 years on the job. This implies that it is not necessarily the efficiency of a leadership style that counts, but efficiency of the manner in which business performance is achieved, without compromising the stability of the organization. Democratic leadership style, exemplified by Noin, seems to present a good compromise between the two extremes of generating good business outcomes and ensuring high levels of employees' satisfaction and morale. As a result of analyzing these three different forms of leadership, we discovered that the appropriateness of a leadership style is not contingent on the nature of the approach, but rather the circumstances in which the approach is implemented. Even though Jobs' transformation leadership brought about tremendous change and growth in Apple company, Ni's democratic leadership brought about sustainable success at PepsiCo, with focus and care for their employees' health and wealth, and Buffett as benevolent neglect leadership at Berkshire Hathaway made consistent long-term results. This fails in the face of the concept that transformation leadership is the best for the long-term prosperity of an organization. However, research evidence points out that leadership effectiveness is dependent on the match between the leadership styles and organization context, set characteristics, and strategic goals. It seems that the focus shall not be on which leadership styles is the most appropriate, as the focus should be on how leadership can support the organization objectives and employees. Thank you for your time. Here are my reference. And this is the article I recommend for further reading. Thank you for your listen. Bye.